Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're talking about July 16th, 2026, which is honestly an unprecedented day of technological acceleration. We're going to dive into this tech trickle-down effect. It's crazy how the literal foundation of silicon is rapidly reshaping our entire society. Because the decisions being made right now in the invisible architecture of microchips, they're going to literally dictate how you live, work, and move tomorrow. Okay, let's dive into this. We are watching an entire tech stack evolve in real time, and it's happening faster than any cycle in history. The sheer magnitude of today's news cycle is just staggering. We're seeing massive fundamental shifts across every single layer of this foundation. Section 1, the infrastructure boom, powering the AI revolution. Because look, before we can even start talking about software or robots, we absolutely have to look at the physical hardware making it all possible. $40.2 billion. That is TSMC's massive Q2 revenue beat. When you couple that with a 77% leap in net income, this is basically a giant flashing green light for the global AI infrastructure build-out. They're rapidly scaling up production of their 2-nanometer chips, which, if you think about it, means packing just unprecedented brain power into microscopically small spaces. And they're heavily utilizing CoWoS technology. If you're not familiar, think of CoWoS as a highly specialized way to stack these chips super tightly together so they can process and share data way, way faster. And get this infrastructure boom is literally leaving the planet. SpaceX is advancing plans to put solar-powered AI data centers into orbit by 2028. The core insight here is honestly brilliant. Terrestrial energy grids and local land use laws are turning into massive bottlenecks for AI right now. Going to space, it completely bypasses earthly red tape. Meanwhile, NASA's $4.3 billion Roman Space Telescope is set to launch on a Falcon Heavy in just 44 days, heading up to survey dark energy and exoplanets. Section 2, the AI Foundation Race, Models, Markets, and Hardware. Let's move up the tech stack a bit and see exactly how the major players are wielding all this immense compute power to outmaneuver each other. The current battlefield is incredibly intense. Google had to actually scrap and rebuild its Gemini 3.5 Pro model from the ground up, and they're targeting a staggering 2 million token context window. In plain English, that's an AI that can ingest and completely understand dozens of full-length books in a matter of seconds. Meanwhile, Anthropic is sprinting toward an October IPO. They're eyeing a $1 trillion valuation target, they're sitting on a $47 billion revenue run rate, and they just brought Andre Karpathy on board. And you've got OpenAI shifting gears a bit. They're developing a screenless home companion device with Johnny Ive's team. Oh, and for the developers watching, DeepSeek set a super strict July 24th deadline to migrate to their V4 models, otherwise you're looking at immediate API outages. Section 3, Real-World Applications. AI steps out of the screen. The crucial takeaway here is that these foundational AI models aren't just software anymore. They are directly translating into physical, real-world services. We're seeing a really fascinating contrast in transportation strategies right now. On a super local level, Waymo is carving out this highly specific 65-square-mile autonomous zone down in Atlanta for their Uber partnership. But then, look at the global stage. Stellantis, Wave, and Uber just signed a massive agreement to co-develop Level 4 commercial robotaxis. And Level 4, remember, means cars driving entirely on their own in most conditions, with zero human intervention. They're totally bypassing these small local zones to target massive international markets like Tokyo and London. And you know, this isn't sci-fi anymore. Humanoid robots are literally walking factory floors right now, physically building the cars we drive. Figure AI has already deployed over 350 humanoid robots out in the real world, and they're turning out 55 a week for BMW's Leipzig plant expansion. AI is even carving out its own physical cultural spaces. Google is opening Dataland out in LA, which is billed as the world's first AI arts museum. Section 4, the expanding threat landscape, the friction of a new world. You simply cannot deploy this much technology this quickly without creating some pretty severe security risks. Let's actually start with a quick look back. The GNUscape vulnerability was just patched today. This was a flaw introduced to the Linux kernel 16 years ago that broke the isolation between guest virtual machines and host systems. To put that into perspective, it's kind of like a huge apartment building. This flaw basically allowed someone renting a single virtual apartment to break out and access the building's master control room. Legacy issues like this persist, and this brilliantly illustrates exactly why modern fast-moving threats are so concerning. I mean, just look at today's immediate threat matrix. The Cursor IDE has 2 zero-click remote code execution flaws. A zero-click flaw is frankly terrifying because a hacker can take over a system without you ever having to click a bad link or download a file. At the exact same time, CISA is warning that an Adobe Cold Fusion vulnerability is actively being exploited right now on federal networks. Over at Google, they just disrupted the NetNet botnet, disabling 2 million compromised Android devices. And incredibly, the Five Eyes, the world's top intelligence alliance, issued their first ever coordinated warning about the specific risks of deploying autonomous agentic AI in critical infrastructure. Because remember, agentic AI doesn't wait for human prompts. It makes its own independent decisions and takes action. Section 5. Tomorrow's Tech Horizon. Convergence and consolidation. It's not just tech hardware converging right now. Massive media and corporate environments are also consolidating just to survive this wave, which we're seeing right now as Hollywood anxiously awaits the pending Paramount Warner Bros. Discovery antitrust ruling. Which brings us to tomorrow. Tomorrow is setting up to be a massive geopolitical and market collision. We are expecting the long-awaited launch of Google's Gemini 3.5 Pro, and it's happening right alongside President Xi Jinping delivering a keynote at the World AI Conference in Shanghai. It's this wild clash of private enterprise, innovation, and sovereign national strategy taking place on the exact same day. So, as infrastructure, models, and real-world deployment collide at breakneck speed, who will ultimately control the foundations of this new ecosystem? When orbital data centers, humanoid robots, and agent AI are all connected, who actually holds the keys? The foundations of our entirely new society are being poured right this second. Keep your eyes open tomorrow.